Leviatán looked like the dragon they always were meant to be as they completely dominated KRU in map 1. But the job for Leviatán is not quite done yet. And for KRU, they have to find a way to answer back. But I think Tactibear was a big fan of Leviatán, by the way. I don't know if you know that, Mimi.
I didn't. You learn something new every day.
That's right. That's why he's there. He just wanted to be a part of the segment.
Then.
Yeah, exactly. We got to get him a jersey. Exactly. Maybe Fur has some. So that was equal parts enjoyable to watch if you're a Leviatán fan, equal parts painful to watch if you're a KRU fan. But it was, Mel, it just felt as if, like, Leviatán, the moment they got onto the server, Lev had KRU's number. They figured them out immediately, it felt like.
And that's hard to deal with if you're a KRU right now, because you're going into this thinking, we need to start hot here, we need to get some momentum. And to just get absolutely, like, kind of blown out in that way is kind of devastating, and there's not much you can really do, but, like, yo, it's 0-0. Every round that we lose, it's 0-0. We keep playing it as if nothing happened.
But it's brutal when it's been that momentum building after last week, almost beating Loud to now this. It's such a tough position to be in. But for Leviatán, this was just a beautiful game. It reminds me a lot of the stomp they had against MIBR when they won 2-0, in that they came in with a really good game plan with some nice ideas of how they wanted to play on Haven, and it just got perfectly executed every time, it feels. They had a lot of rounds where it was just more basic stuff, just going for a site execute, but the util timings were all working out. All of the players were filling their roles correctly, and KRU was unable to play in a style that disrupted that game plan. And when you let Leviatán play how they want to, they'll just roll you over.
Yeah, it's not the best type of environment for KRU to be in right now, considering that Lev are really just in good spirits. I mean, 10 out of 10 post plants, like they're doing everything right. Like, there's really just Lev. It was like wherever the crosshair was pointed at, they were getting a kill. That's literally what happened at the end there. Guy stunned, and he's like, click, click, 2 kills, sick. Yeah, he got ridiculous. 3 actually out of that. It's nuts, Mimi.
Yeah, it's absurd. Also, like 12-5 in opening kills, I think it was on that graphic, which is just wild. Taco was having a crazy good game, was absolutely farming at the start of these rounds. KRU was almost always playing from a deficit.
Yeah, now this is a fun part of the show. I'm so excited for this because it's now time for a Mellestrator breakdown. Because Mel, you are going to talk about a play. What you got for us?
Well, let me go.
Walk and talk.
Just over here real quick.
Hopefully you don't trip.
Come on this way. There's another Tactibear. The Leviathan fans are everywhere. This graphic is too funny. All right, what I have for you guys is a round 5, kind of a pocket strap play, a beautiful pocket strap play. And actually, if you guys have been tuning into VCT Pacific, you might actually recognize this play from DRX. It has some shades of an old play they do with Omen. Not exactly the same, but let me tell you what they changed. They have the pretty static Sova and the Killjoy going up C-long together. This is pretty normal for most C-splits at this level. And then they have 3 coming up here with the Omen, but the Omen has TP. The Omen's gonna actually TP here. Instead of this breach stun, which we see in actually Pacific for DRX, they're gonna move the breach stun to over here instead. And you'll see what that allows Takulia to get away with as I play out the round. This is also a crucial part of the strat, is this recon dart. It's gonna scan as the split's happening, so it'll reveal the site players as they're getting pressured from garage. So here, Takulia, who has a stun, he is not even stunned. This is just pure mechanical entry prowess here from Takulia, gets this first kill, and actually Mazito ends up dying in spawn. Unfortunately, Breach is a little too aware, but regardless, we're gonna see a nice, quick, and easy adjustment right into sight here as if nothing ever happened. So great from Leviatán. You see him instantly cancel. The comms are fresh from Leviatán. Nice smoke to get into sight, the crossover. And now what I want to point out here is everything's kind of stabilizing on the site, but keep in mind, there's a breach ult in play, and look at where the Sova is playing. Recognize this line. Sova has ult here. So as you see here, KRU's gonna try and fast flood on the tap with the breach ult, and immediately you see King throw a flash, you see the Sova ult come out, and it's just so frustrating. You're trying to get into these rounds, you're trying to make a play happen if you're KRU here. Kesna's trying to go in and make something happen with his knives off the back of a breach ult, and he can't get anything done. It seems like there's every advantage being used here and leveraged by Leviatán to get out these rounds, and here it's really hard. Once you get into this C-long post plant, it's incredibly difficult, especially if you're disadvantaged, because these spray angles, when it's planted here, there's a one-way on the bomb, there's breach util, there's Sova shock darts, Killjoy mollies. It's honestly impossible, and it's just a perfectly played little pocket strat by Leviatán.
Wow. Well, that is exactly why we have Mel here. Thank you so much for the Mellestrator. Appreciate you. But yeah, I mean, Mimi, just the way that this team plays is unreal.
Those little adjustments in the late round, I think, is what was missing in some of the games where Leviatán looked like they were falling into the slump. Because they've always had those well put together executes, the good ideas like we saw there. But it's just so impressive that they make that call to pivot, to cancel the play, instead just split into C instantly, and also have the so vault in the late round. Leviatán, the layers that we're seeing in that one is, I think, showing shades of the team that we know that Leviatán can be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true, very true. But let's go ahead, though, and move on to our AIM Lab shoot-around. And we're going to check in on the homie Kesnet here for the shoot-around, talk a little bit about him as well. Definitely not the showing that he would have wanted in that first game, undoubtedly, considering how well Taco was playing at the start of it, too, Mimi.
Yeah, Taco was having an incredible game. And for Kesnet, we saw him getting up to some of his same shenanigans early on. I think it was round 4, where they had this really nice, like, lobby A re-clear, where he pops off with great support. There was a couple moments where we saw that, where we got a glimpse of peak Kesnet, but for the rest of the map, it fell back into what we've seen when KRU is losing, where things start spiraling out of control. Kesnet will try and take a fight, try and change the tide of rounds, and just get ran over without a trade. He's really the guy who has to rally if they want to push a closer map number 2.
And I think right here, he's really working on using different parts of his mousepad. At the beginning of the shoot-around, he's only using like the bottom left corner of his mousepad. Like his wrist is off like the table, and now he's doing the top. I've never seen that.
He's a pretty high sense player too. It looks like it's all wrist aim.
Right. I was so unrelated to your point. I'm just like, I've never seen that.
Yeah. but you know what, though?
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. He's just training different parts of his entire mousepad space. He could very well control it.
The players sometimes troll. But that being said, though, I mean, with the way that these players play, I mean, you never know with them. We're moving on to Split. This is going to be KRU's pick. 13-4 was the conclusion of Haven. And really, for KRU, you just can't have the start that happened on Haven happen here, because you kind of let Leviatán get into the game a lot sooner than I would have personally liked, with that round 2 win that Lev ended up picking up. Kind of set the tone for the rest of the game.
It really did. Lev is a team where if they start strong, they can just snowball these games. So it has to be stronger here from KRU. But let's talk about the comps for a second, because for both these squads, they've been playing kind of the double duelist that a lot of people have gone towards. It was this map, actually, where we saw the map number 3 that KRU ended up losing to Loud. And what was really tough there was Ashedi was having a tough game. He was getting involved in a lot of the opening duels on the Raze and was quite unsuccessful in them.
I wonder if we're going to see that Raze or maybe a second initiator here, but no, I think he's going to be moving towards that Raze.
We're definitely going to get Jet here.
Oh, for sure. Double duelist v double duelist.
Yeah. Curious what the other side's, what Shedi's going to lock in. And
the same thing for sure.
Okay, so same thing. Yeah. I would have liked to have seen something, because like as you said, he didn't really get going, right? So you want to see that happen here.
The thing is, Ashedi is still a really strong player. He's played a lot of Raze in the past. I think it was an off game versus Loud, and giving both him and Kesnet a role they can shine in could be what it takes to maybe push KRU into this one.
Well, we're all set for map 2, so it's time for me to hand this off to 2 guys that have their DAP game on lock. It's Doug and Balla.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy Balla. I'm going to try to give you some copium for KRU, okay? We're going to Split, and yes, they haven't won on Split. They're 0-3 on Split, but let me remind you about the last time they went out onto a map that they hadn't won on. Pearl, last week. What did they do? They won. They were 0-3, I think, or something like that, and they won, so maybe, just maybe, they'll get a win here?
You're almost right, except for the fact that they haven't gotten a win on Haven, and we just played that. So
I was really hoping you weren't going to mention that.
No, yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's a tough situation, but KRU picked it, so there must be a reason for it. And we'll see. They put up a good fight against Loud, even despite the start that they had. I think it was 7-1 or something like that. 7-0 it might have been, actually, for them, or for Loud.
Yeah,
so for them to bring it back, that was definitely impressive. And you do have this double duelist combination of Ashedi and Kesnet. And Kesnet's, with the freedom that he has because of the Raze, despite maybe Ashedi, like Mimi said, struggling a little bit, might be able to do some damage.
Recovering it.
KRU have gotten their way out onto B, and they're starting to assume their post-plant positions. A bit aggressive here, too. I didn't realize they'd scaled all the way up into heaven to try to take that fight to Leviatán, but they have. And it's worked out so far. They're able to get the first. Ashadi still dancing around. And Hell haven't taken any damage quite yet, but Mazzino cleans up 2.
Player standing. One enemy remaining.
This
It's a
has to
frenzy,
be
though.
filthy.
He's just dead.
He's so dead.
Great start from Nosworth.
Again, I mean, remember, he started off Haven in almost similar fashion.
Yeah, fighting that flank on the last pistol. And this is both, or sorry, all 3 pistols that we played so far in favor of Leviatán. Also got to give credit to Mazzino there. The interesting part about how some of the Leviatán players played there, some ghost spot, and they're just spamming long-range angles because of how prominent the frenzy is. And they're not going to have armor to survive a 1 tap to the head. So if you get 1 random spam through smoke, I mean, it's just par for the course in this meta. KRU going to go for a full force of stingers with the spike plant money that they got. Going for a Hail Mary, try to thrifty him right away, but Mazzino's been a rock on this anchor. He missed the jump spot, so he didn't actually spot them, but immediately falling back. And it's the right choice.
Dash out onto the side, much like we saw previously, and Mazzino's there to receive. Kevnet already dead.
And just gets the spam through smoke. I'm impressed in the fact that he's able to fall back after that dash and still get the grab well out, still get the smoke up too. And come out with the kill. A pivot here from KRU into mid, but Taco and King are watching. Only a frenzy for King though, and if this timing works out.
He's a little bit further back as well. It's not like he was now starting to peak a little bit more. I was worried that he wouldn't be able to support or help. Choosing not to spam through the smoke.
And you think that they're going to get a lot of space off of ropes here, but Leviatán's actually given up a lot of the follow-up space, so it's not like they're going to be able to find a kill here. This force looking doomed at this current point.
30
King
seconds
spotting,
left.
got a molly in hand. Delaying yet again. There's just no way into the side follow. There's nowhere really for them to go.
Satchel out.
Maybe they'll find some success here. Nope, never mind. Nothing really to do here.
Okay, hold on a sec.
Huge out of Klaus, but it's just not big enough.
Don't let him, okay. I was gonna say, there's an adjustment there that Leviatán made, which is switch Mazzino after he gets those first 2 kills as they're trying to rush him down on that B site. Once he gets those, he rotates over towards A, and they put Nosworth into the anchor position, which is really nice, especially when you go for a B split, because if you spot the Astra anywhere else on the map, you're going to say, okay, there's not actually going to be any B main control, there's not going to be anybody on pillar, and that potentially gives Nosworth the ability for free kills.
Just a stinger in the hands of Nax. Pistols the rest of the way for KRU.
Blinded.
Who unfortunately continue to try to swim through the doldrums of these last couple of rounds all the way back to Haven. It's just been like trying to trudge through mud.
Lurking up with the wall, but the defensive wall's up at the same time. You got a Judge on the other side, a nade coming in here too.
One enemy
Oh
remaining.
no. That, you just buy the Judge, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I want to give a little bit of love here to King, and not just because of the, obviously the 4K that he got with the Judge, but sidestepping the flash, right? Just tucking behind the wall to make sure he'd be able to re-peek, take the fight. In a split-second decision like that, there's no info that you hit anyone with the Sky Flash, so you aren't expecting something like that. It's just well played, man.
I'm surprised you're not seeing more of that, especially on split. But it's such a beautiful bonus weapon. It catches you off so fast. He bought a frenzy, or he only had a frenzy in the last round in that anti-eco. So coming into this, realizing, okay, I want a bonus. I want to be able to buy next round, going for the Judge. Either way, it was all different because of the way that that force came through for KRU. And now they're actually really going for the bonus, but Taco's actually investing an op into this one. So such a weird situation despite being up 3-0. Does he go for this? No. Oof. Kesnet finding Nosworth.
Yeah, but I mean, at a hefty price.
He's gonna get healed, so not truly concerned. It just costs time. And Taco's gotten deep on this. He might actually die before the heal comes in here.
And I wonder too how patient Taco would be.
Heal up, squad.
Not patient enough.
That is nasty.
Because remember, he was smoked off of that angle early.
Yeah.
Right? But he just contacted his way through and took more space.
Actually curious. Potentially there was util to set him up deep on that angle. Either way, I think there must have. Otherwise, Klaus, I don't know how he gets that shot. I feel like that was a pre-fire. Just jiggle shooting. And now the Leviatán players are in such a bad spot, especially with the Seekers coming out now from Klaus. Shy has to deal with that. But there is a smoke place from Mizzino that he can play around, and King has gotten in the same spot.
With the judge. He's not going to get spotted.
They missed.
30 seconds left.
They're pivoting still. 30 seconds going through the ropes.
Do you have enough time to do this?
Yes, absolutely. He picked up the op. What?
Mizzino do anything about it? The first is already fallen. Oh my gosh. That was so close. The flash traded.
Oh, go for the spam too. Plant will come down, but the flood might come
10
fast.
seconds left.
He flashed, and remember, King has nothing but a judge here. Meanwhile, Mellestrator's going
One
for
enemy remaining.
a cheeky little flank. It's not going to matter at the end of the day. King has upgraded a weapon.
I mean, it's beautiful from Melzer. Staying far enough that you don't want to go clear, but now I think King at this point is just looking for the kills.
Poison orb emitting.
He might find it. Early stop to the streak out of Leviatán. We're not going to see the similar, actually very similar scoreline still, but I'm just going to say that it's different, just because that makes me feel better.
Enemy remaining.
3-1 lead for Lev.
And this is interesting. Normally in this position, this is when you're getting your first op up. Obviously, the force throws things for a loop. But because Taco forced that op in the last one, didn't fully bonus on that, he doesn't have it in this position. He's still got a full buy. And a bunch of ults here.
The showstopper for Noswer, the Viper's Pit for King, and then the Cosmic Divide for Mizzino as well.
Oh, wow. They just fed that orb to Asheti, who's now one off of his showstopper, but are they really considering a strat surrounding the showstopper? And that makes me a little concerned, because you've seen how those can go awry very fast.
Crew have quietly all gathered towards A now. Remember, Noswer has that ult. He's got the nade too, and he's got one off the spam.
And that's Asheti too. They can't even get the ult up.
And Keswick got stuck, and then he got stuck with the gravity wall. Ult from Noswer cleans him up. That's the injuries gone. Both of them for Crew, no longer around.
40 seconds. Can they pull off the same pivot? That's the last round.
Screen down.
This one feels a bit more labored, a bit more cumbersome. But they have gotten one opening, and that's a big one on the King.
And no
30
control of
seconds
mid
left.
earlier either, so they have to be really cautious, clearing it so they can go back towards A, but also making that drop noise. So Taka's fallen all the way back into spawn, also keeping tabs on if they want to push into screens though. It doesn't look like that's going to be the call. Still 2 players here for Leviatán.
13 seconds left. Time is of the essence.
10 seconds left.
A big one out from Nags. They're going to have to do more than that, though. They just barely managed to get the spike down just in the nick of time. Now Taco and Mizzino,
They both dropped.
and they're both close. Attached at the hip, both flash off the turn. Taco gets the first. It comes down to a 1v1, and Mizzino's swing timing is gorgeous.
I can't believe it. They both dropped down in a time where the spike is going down, in a time where there's noise happening. And on top of that too, that smoke was still up, so you can tell how fast that came through. That was an assist smoke from Mizzino for Shy way back in.
Last player standing.
It's just such an easy trade. Crew thinks you have a lot more time. That's why you see this guy go for the heal too.
And even the flash being a bit deceiving. The flash came over the smoke. It could have hit heaven. It could have hit somewhere close. It was maybe misinformation in a sense.
Thank you.
But you're right, time was short. Crew with a couple of ults. One of them being Kesnit's Blades. Makes success on Haven. Gravity Well's not going to be quite on time, but the flash is certainly going to help.
He got through with the smokes actually.
But they didn't realize Mizzino had repositioned.
Oh, what a
Down
beast.
B.
Once again, the Blades harmlessly end in a whimper.
Keep it coming on this B anchor. Mazzino's just absolutely putting on a clinic. Again, he gets away from that dash, is able to get the smoke and grab well off, and then repositions with Kesnet smokes there. And they are no clue. Plus the molly coming in as well from King. Leviatán is playing very nice Valorant right now, and actually it feels a lot looser than we saw on Haven too.
And in a lot of ways, a lot looser than we've seen all year, or all season.
From Leviatán, for sure. I think the comp asks for that, in a sense. But at the same time, nice to see those moments where they went for loose plays, for a bit more flowy style, where things fell apart in those upsets.
And they look clean today. Another great start, and I think that was off of, I believe that was Taco actually pushing up with the Trailblazer to take that angle. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about the Raze ult. Just insta-denied. I like the idea, Raze ult through the Viper's Pit to try to actually bring it down and give yourself a chance here. But it's another attempt against Mazzino. This time the wall makes it more difficult for him to anchor.
Bags is ahead of things, and there was a gorgeous angle for Nasser. He's still gonna get alive, he stays alive, he gets away. Another flawless round for Leviatán.
Look at that smile.
This feels very much like the series yesterday between Cloud9 and MIBR, where the winning team is just stomping, they're having fun, they're vibing the entire way, and,
yeah.
And everything's just working.
I can see that. We were talking about wiping smiles off of people's faces and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, obviously Nas were laughing in this instance. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. Crew gonna light buy up again, and you're starting to get, I mean, they're back up to max loss bonus, so might as well put it in.
Mid presence once again from Crew where they previously stumbled. Remember, it was the showstopper in the last round that Ashadi tried using to clear this space and to get an advantage. And it was faced by a judge, no less.
Okay, going into phase 2 very early here from King. And again, Taco finding nags on the lurk.
Second round in a row, almost the exact same spot.
And it's not even off of a setup. It's actually funny because Shy is trailblazering after the kill, but giving up the space costs 2 players lives and guns given away.
This is an op. That's a tough angle. Kesnet attempting to go ballistic here, waiting for the other just on the other side. And that's 3 for him, a thrifty round for Crew.
Improving on the first half of Haven right away. But you're already seeing, again, we talk about how Split is shifting in terms of sidedness, especially when facing these 2 comps. And you're looking at a good, strong defensive side here from Leviatán. That could spell disaster for Crew moving forward, unless they really string some rounds together. And the problem here is they just got to max loss bonus too. Thankfully, that was off of a very light buy. So you're not really looking at a reset situation. Whereas despite the streak that Leviatán has put together, they're not the greatest in terms of economic situations. Shy alone right now.
I mean, again, no real entry. Now they're still playing up in heaven. Flashed, hits the transfer onto the second. That's just filthy.
I mean, you don't even have to watch anymore. You know what's about to happen. Nasser just swings with the flash of Shy. That combination is so devastating. And what the amount of threats that you have.
1 enemy remaining.
If you're Leviatán, the amount of threats you have to deal with as Crew. You have Mazzino on one side who's just beasting you. And then you have the combination of Shy and Nasser, sometimes Taco as well, just destroying any threat of a lurk, but also those executes. This is a wonderful split from Leviatán. It looks to continue as we have a timeout for Crew. It is only the first of the game. So Adam has a chance to instill a new sense of confidence and game plan in his team.
I just don't really know what you say here to try to swing things back your way if you're Crew. I mean, you're down 5 rounds. The whooping that you got on Haven wasn't really that long ago either. And yeah, you have to have short-term memory if you're I mean, if you're competing at this level. But that one's hard to forget, especially when it feels like we're getting this again. Maybe it's off of like an opener where KRU are able to get a numbers advantage or something, but I just don't really know how you convert that.
And the reset did actually occur on quite a number of the KRU players, so you could see there's some hero rifles bought up. Vandal in the hands of Kesnet, who is 2 orbs off of his knives, so that could be a consideration. And then as well, the Bulldog from Machete. Taco's going for it. Dash active. And he is just dominating.
He was there in the last round, but they never tested him. They never saw him there.
I got this spot.
Remember, prior to that round, he had gotten 2 openers on A.
And that is now 6 first kills in a row for this team as well.
6?
Between Noswar and Taco.
You talk about dominance. For just 2 players to have 6 rounds in a row of the first kill is just outrageous.
Bring it back, though. Take down Noswar. And Taco's set up all the way towards B. You're actually seeing a lot of Leviatán focus on bringing over King in this instance, and they've given up that mid control, but KRU, because of that early pick, they don't have the information to go for it.
They also don't have their Viper utility to play around the wall as A. Or B, excuse me. Now Cosmic Divide used.
So, you know, again, that star for Shy support. King got in sight with him on elbow.
And he got the kill on it too.
Okay.
He gets the second. 6 bullets left as he looks for the third and it delivers.
This might be the fastest series we have.
I think we're pushing it. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, the fastest series we've had so far in Americas as we take a look at this King 3K one more time.
1 enemy remains.
Fastest series we've had so far is 1 hour and 36 minutes, and that was actually just set yesterday. Between Cloud9 and MIBR and Lev, I mean, Leviatán are on pace to not just beat the time, but obliterate it.
We get a little silly towards the tail end of this season. And I mean, Leviatán has everything to play for. KRU, very little. So you might see the differences in the approach too. Look how much space Taco just got. This time they used the Trailblazer forward, and he's gonna almost get another first kill. Again, this streak is very long.
It's just so oppressive where you took it when you take a look at where Taco is at this point. Right, like because of the 2 openers he's gotten on A, you're almost scared to go that way.
Caution here.
And this has been a broken setup up in B Heaven. When you put down this orb, back it up a little bit. KRU got through it in the 4v5. This time Mazzino, 7 rounds in a row now.
Not just Noswar and Taco anymore. What do KRU do? Oh no, this has disaster written all over it again.
1 enemy remaining. Spike down B. 30 seconds left.
This is just brutal.
Flawless.
A flawless round from Leviatán. We've seen Noswar smile a lot today.
Last round.
He's having
before
fun.
the
This is a role he doesn't get to play that often. He's normally locked in the initiator jail. He is absolutely farming on this Raze right now. And everybody's playing so well together. Mazzino, even giving cross-map to support to Shy. The way that he's able to play with Noswar there and King as well coming through on the rotate. It's just so wonderful. And we're looking at the final round of the half here. KRU, again, have not gotten a first kill in the last 7 rounds. Kesnet finally with the knives, by the way. And it's a really busted buy from the KRU players.
Perhaps the blades can be the equalizer for Kesnet, who I believe is not spotted by that Trailblazer because of his positioning. Remember, he up-dropped it off on top of that box.
Give me those back.
And there's the record, but there's a streak broken. Kesnet with the opener.
He needed it.
Taco close by. Kesnet gets the second. So Mazzino once again with the trade back and King too. even off of the attempts from Kesnet to get
Toxin
numbers
screen
advantage
down.
to make something of a round, it's instantly equalized back. Spike looking like it's going to contact its way out onto B. While Nags with the op tries to wreak some havoc A.
They're playing so passive back here for Leviatán.
30 seconds left.
Mazina's gonna go re-explore, expecting mid to not even really be a factor, and Ashetti's trying to pinch on Heaven at the same time. That Nags is coming through, but the timing's all off. And he's gonna get caught here, yes. But can he get the follow-up on? He spotted his gun barrel!
Hang on.
Oh.
How does he get two there?
Welcome to my
And the pit too
world.
invested. As it's the final round, instantly.
I mean, an op in this situation is not really what you want to have. King also 1 point away from having his pit.
Oh no.
My ultimate is ready.
Gets out of the pit, running away right now. He's really low with this decay. He can't even really tap.
He doesn't have any mollies either. No way. Woo, crew. Okay. Nags hit the shot. 3 on the round for him. 3.5 for crew.
Switching sides.
I was just gonna say, King, you better not do it to him. I've seen you do disgusting things before, but please not into the pit.
That
Please
was-
not when they're already dead.
Yeah, that was like a vintage pop, a stand-up, pop-off moment. King having his day.
I think you just
Once
felt
again.
bad after that.
A 9-3 half for Leviatán. Let's slow it down to the desk to break down that first half.
Thank you so much, Doug and Bala, even though you guys didn't dap, and I will judge you for that. Anyway, moving on though, Mel, I know that you wanted to talk about what you're seeing in this game. I mean, obviously your experience is always going to be so valuable to us. What are you picking out on that's affecting crew here? Because it really feels like they're running out of ideas.
Yeah, about midway through the half, it felt like they couldn't get anything going. And normally when it feels like you go into a game, you have a game plan, typically you talk to your coach and you seem like, yo, we think this is gonna work early. If that doesn't work and you're just kind of like bashing your head into a wall, like we're seeing these B hits out of crew over and over, and they're running into exactly what Leviatán wants them to do. They have a perfect setup, they have a Viper, they have a Raze nade, and they have an Astra suck, and Astra could be A for all she cares. She could do that across the map, and they just keep BXing into like the worst util that you want to get into. And so when we see on the B-roll here, it's like, what can they even do? Like if you're crew here, it's so difficult. And from Leviatán, it looks easy. And that's something you really want to avoid at all times, is when they start getting into the groove and it's comfortable for them, it's so difficult. So what you need to start doing and looking at from this POV is finding anything that will make them uncomfortable. You don't need the perfect call. You don't need a perfect mid-round. Sometimes you just need a little bit of an in. And that could be something as simple as like, let's make the site anger uncomfortable. If he's gonna jump peek back site for like the entire round and then, okay, I see one, pop my orb, pop a molly, get an attack up online. Any small thing, you don't have to think of every layer of the round sometimes when your back is against the wall like that. Just one small advantage you can think of, like the attack off, walk up, pop from a different spot, bait some util out mid, anything else but running your head into a wall like that.
You should be Crew's coach. She's popping off. And
Well,
I mean, it
Vamos.
just has to take one thing. There's still a chance. It's 9-3.
Yeah, it's true. The 9-3 curse/blessing, but the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. We'll see what ends up happening as we go back to the casters.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. Crew are flirting with being the first at something here across any team in the Internationals League. They're 4 rounds away from being the first team to be mathematically eliminated from playoffs across EMEA, Americas, or Pacific.
I thought you were gonna say like, oh, this a comeback possibility, something like that. No, okay,
Nah.
that's brutal.
Nah.
That's harsh. 4 rounds away. You're right though. The end of the season is upon us potentially for crew.
Here.
And then very quickly to check in on time, we're at an hour and a half right now
God, you want this so bad.
on the
don't you?
136. I mean, we're breaking records today, baby.
Okay. And they've walked behind that Viper wall, found themselves a pocket, cleared it, and just walked all the way up. This is something that Leviatán is not really used to doing, which is just dry contacting up.
Is
And they've
alone?
added it into their playbook in the last 2 weeks. It's been a big threat. You can see why.
Spike
Kesnet
planted.
counts his lucky stars there and he stays alive. He was the only one playing there. Had to use his dash to get away. Healed back up though, still with the ghost. 5v5 pistol rounds on split. We're in for a good one here.
Reminder, crew hasn't won one so far this series. in the 2 maps we've played.
Looking to break that streak right now.
What?
Never mind.
Oh no! He got knifed.
Player standing.
Just a little bit of damage done.
0-4.
0-4. I don't know how you got that first plate. This he dinked them both too, it felt like.
Oh.
Don't show that. Avert your eyes. That's just unadulterated violence. Bro, it's interesting how that first half went too. It's literally as soon as the loss bonus gets maxed for KRU, they end up getting around. And Leviatán just go right back to getting 3 more. It's constantly breaking the momentum. Even ended that way. They're just walking down in front of the wall again, just the opposite way this time. This could be a spray down.
By himself, still gets 2. Now Mazzino looking to fill the space that was previously vacated. Takes a little bit of damage, has to tuck away. They're chasing him down. And they're just hunting him. The gravity well. 1 still done. Meanwhile, the rest of Leviatán through all of that mess.
They're just walking through.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get a free B site because of it.
I mean, they may get a kill on the Klaus as well.
Okay, he is considering it now. You see in his movements walking back over towards B.
1 enemy remaining.
And it's traded. But that's only 2 players now.
And Nags has a shorty.
Yeah, but he's coming through spawn specifically to pick up those Bulldog or whatever weaponry he can get. But that is something that is going to be in Leviatán's head. The 1 upgrades that are possible are in mid and in spawn. So you have to expect him to come from B main, and especially now confirming with the Trailblazer, although he's really open to B main. I think they're just gonna go for a double stack, which this might be the best position to peek the double stack from, but instead Taco's actually peeking Heaven right now.
They use the Trailblazer into defender spawn. They use a flash to check Heaven as
They're
well.
on top of each other. Yeah.
Shy delivers. That's really good cosplay.
You're on camera, bro.
You guys look great.
Yeah, awesome.
2 rounds now left for Leviatán to close out this series, and with that, you know, we've talked about time records, we've talked about potentially being the first eliminated, but I think there's something else at stake here, Bala. And this, if this is how things pan out, this will be the first time KRU does not attend an international event.
Yeah, something we were talking a lot about last week when they were trying to challenge Loud. KRU is the only team to have that record. And unfortunately, even before this game, we were kind of putting that notch in the books for that really epic run that they had. We'll see if they can maybe put a nail back into it, bring us back to thinking it's a possibility. But right now, Leviatán full control of knocking KRU back down in the pegs of history.
Nags able to take another. That's now 2 kills that have gone down in this exact same spot. Oh.
I mean, he's escaping a judge right now.
Player standing.
Oh my goodness. 1 more second there and he's dead, but it's a beautiful 4K.
Yeah.
Thinking about it though, that bonus was definitely really rough given what they were able to do in that eco round where they got actually 3 players down.
1 enemy remaining.
So Leviatán were definitely hurting. It's so funny how he's disappointed in that. It's a weapon disadvantage.
You guys dropped around. How dare you?
Remember you took a timeout when there were 12, they were on match point.
Back
Still
into
defaulting.
back into a gun round here as well.
I mean, this is where Leviatán has been striving for excellence. 10-2 on these gun rounds. Max weaponry, they've been absolutely diffing KRU, even when they've been converting the bonus too. That's why this is such a fast game. Or it feels that way anyways. And getting full ramp control, I mean, that is such a massive loss for the defense right away because it pulls players off of mid. It pulls potentially even you to have to concede that mid orb. Because right now that setup is a lot weaker, and it also allows for potential lurks
Screen down.
later into this. Look at the resources it's pulling right now from Crew. The Trailblazer coming in, they're re-clearing hard. But King can just sit in this, or he might swoop peek it, yeah. Oh my goodness.
King is just outrageous, bro.
The movement there is really nice.
Screen down.
And the cycling of his util is so good too. And again, they had to give up the mid.
We were just talking about how much weaker that setup is off of that. With King getting a kill, it's even worse. And now you have to deal with the possibility of a late flank if you know they're going to end B. And that's why you see Kesnet staying A. You have to deal with him.
25 seconds though. The pitch coming through B main 2. That smoke might fall. It doesn't matter. The kills come through. Klaus is going to try to get on site. But it's a Hail Mary attempt, and King is hot on the heels of Kesnet. He even hears where he's going. He even hears confirmation that he's saving. But he's lost him.
The only thing really to be left decided in this round is whether or not Kesnet will save the Phantom. Shy's going to be the first to contact. Cheeky position. Phantom dropped.
Kesnet's got to feel so bad there. He's like, how does he know I'm there? It's because you didn't deal with that flank. You didn't deal with the King lurk. And we're now on match point. Leviatán has just absolutely dominated this entire time. Talk about speed. Just pure destruction here of Crew. They're Latin American rivals. Have to say again, it felt like it was already a done deal for Crew, given their record, given the 0-6, that they weren't going to be attending Tokyo. But it just feels like a sense of finality is upon us. The roster change and losing Mazzino in the offseason to this Leviatán squad. That era is over.
Poison's off.
A, not an option, at least not initially, as the pip from Nags is invested. Where do they choose to go from here? They have the Seekers for Shy. They have, I mean, they have tools to crack this pit open if they want to, via the Seekers and the Showstopper.
And again, just the map control focus here for Leviatán, pushing them off of mid this time. But something they don't have is that A ramp control. So a difference in the last 2 rounds, and you have a bigger setup here from Crew. You have 3 players that both duelists and Melzer with his stars.
There's a Showstopper. Never had a chance.
They got a dink on Taco too. This looks like a solid hold.
Yep, that's both duelists down. Shy's also not going to be up to any antics. It's going to have to be on Mazzino here.
King on the lurk. Smoke's fading.
By himself. No target given yet. Mazzino still gets that kill. King now with 10 HP, and they know where he is. That Molly's not going to feel good.
Nags is so slow coming through mid right now. Allows the plant to come through.
Spike planted.
They're not really paying attention to it, but there's the ults invested.
They heard it fall. Yeah, they did. Mazzino was wise to it.
One enemy remaining.
And it's all on to Nags. Yes, King is weak, but you aren't even getting a chance to shoot at him right now as the Cosmic Divide keeps him tucked. And it's a shorty. It's a shorty. It's a shorty to win the round, to win the map, to win the series. A blistering pace out from Leviatán as they take down Crew.
Record set for Leviatán on the fastest series. Biggest dominating win. And they stay alive. I mean, definitely people were concerned about potentially, given the last 2 losses that they had, big losses, maybe missing on playoffs. Instead, they look as sharp as ever. And unfortunately, Crew is the first team to be eliminated from playoff contentions across all 3 international leagues. And they remain winless.
There's a lot to talk about here on the side of Crew. None of it's really good. You're right. They remain winless, 0-7. Their international appearance record is now broken.
Era over.
Such an insane fall from grace.
I think it was expected, obviously. There's some roster changes coming through. You got to give them a little bit more time. Leviatán have kind of condensed a lot of the talent in their region. Obviously, we're talking multiple different countries here for LATAM. Both teams comprised of Argentinian and Chilean players, and even Colombian. Unfortunately, KRU, obviously they have to go through the substitution as well towards the end of the season. But Ashedi, the Brazilian too, coming in and really delivering.
Stuffed Animals always getting some love. Yeah, I mean, just an obliteration, really.
What's the final time?
83 minutes, yeah, something like that. They set the record. That's the fastest one we've had so far. A total of what, 7 rounds amassed from KRU across both maps?
Yeah.
13-3 or excuse me, it was 4 each. 13-4 on Haven and then 13-4 on Split. So 8 rounds total from KRU. That's rough.
And it felt like a clean win. But even at times, Owner's still not happy. This is the way that this team strives for perfection. You saw it in that game. There it is, up to 4-3. Definitely playoffs well within their reach. Definitely a chance to go to Tokyo for this team, despite a lot of a lot of people doubting them now after those last 2 losses. That looked really good. That looked clean. The structure was nice. The discipline was nice. It looked really, really good. So I think the stocks rise up again.
Yeah. Keep things in context, it was KRU, but you're right. They look clean, and after the 2 losses that they probably shouldn't have lost, for them to take care of KRU the way that they did was outrageously impressive. We're going to throw it to a break. When we return, the Verizon post-match interview and a close to the day.
The LATAM Classic and Leviatán comes up on top. I am over here with Onur, the coach for Leviatán. And I want to start this by saying, out of all 10 players that we saw today playing, 9 out of 10 you had the opportunity to coach. How has the familiarity with these players played for the match today, that kind of strength as a coach for it?
Bueno, sí, es verdad que muchos de estos jugadores se iniciaron conmigo como entrenador, entonces para mí es un partido especial. Tengo sentimientos encontrados con todos. Me debo a Leviatán en este momento, pero compartí muchas cosas lindas con todos los rivales que eran hoy. Y en términos estratégicos, nos conocemos todos. Los jugadores también se conocen entre sí, pero nosotros siempre jugamos nuestras fortalezas, no intentamos adaptarnos al rival, sino que intentamos como que jugar la ronda que tenemos adelante.
Sí. He is saying that this is obviously a very special match because of all the chances that he got before to coach the players, now that he's Leviatán, but also before when he was part of KRU, and even then just making sure that you're still playing your round, the round that you have ahead of you. And that was kind of the approach. And obviously it was not only the matchup that he knew of, but also the players that know each other from before. Now for my second question, I want to ask about something that you posted on Twitter after last week. You said that after that loss, you were still kind of trying to find that path again, and it seems like, well, this match was super dominant. You're definitely on the path to do so. So can you tell me about what changed from that last week to this one?
Bueno, al comienzo de la liga, muchas opiniones nos ponían como quizá entre los mejores equipos del mundo. Y hablaban del potencial que teníamos, pero no del equipo que éramos en ese momento. Yo sentía que había todavía un proceso que teníamos que transitar. Sí, es verdad que arrancamos muy bien la liga, pero al mismo tiempo las derrotas nos sirvieron para hacer ajustes que teníamos, debilidades que todavía teníamos. Y fui muy duro con los jugadores, le pusimos muchas horas de entrenamiento estas últimas 2-3 semanas. Realmente los presioné mucho y respondieron de la mejor forma porque tienen la mentalidad para ser campeones y nos estamos acercando a eso.
Yeah, he's saying at the beginning of the league, the expectations were high, saying that LEV was one of the best teams that we had, and it was a conversation that it was more about what they can do as a team and not what they are right now. So kind of putting a little bit more focus on that, especially after the losses, that it has been helping out, and that he's been very stern when it comes to the players, making sure that they're getting the practice, they're putting a lot of hours, and the players have, of course, just responded really well to this kind of thing because they are also looking for that same thing. Now for my next question, we always see you whether it is those pauses that you get, whether it is the team at the top or maybe trying to make a comeback, very animated. So what kind of coach are you when it comes to the pauses, and when do you think that needs to be called? Because we know that you work with King quite a lot, and just kind of making that call of when is that right time for it.
Sí, en general son pausas más psicológicas, no tanto tácticas. Siempre digo que el 90% de lo táctico se resuelve en la semana previa del partido. Son más pausas que cuando veo que el equipo está como ansioso o nervioso. Intento como parar el momento del partido del equipo rival y también devolverle un poco de tranquilidad a nuestro equipo. Generalmente le digo que hago como una recopilación de los errores que nos llevó hasta ese momento dentro del partido. Nada, intento transmitir tranquilidad, no mucho más que eso. Lo táctico está como resuelto y no hay mucho que yo pueda hacer ya en ese momento.
Yeah, he's saying that for the pauses, it is more of a psychological pause that he makes to make sure that the players are calm and collected. And he's also saying that he's always said 90% of the tactical part that you have to study, it is for that week prior, for that before the match. There's only so much that you can do when the match is already happening. So it is more than anything to just give that calmness to the players. And my last question is, the next two matches for LEV are actually going to be Cloud9 and Loud, the top two that we have in Americas right now. And how the preparation maybe changes a little bit, knowing that there's so many VODs that you can watch. But obviously, like you said, kind of preparing to what it works for the team.
Sí, lo que sucede o lo que he experimentado yo en el pasado, que cuando haces como muchas anti-strats y ves muchas board review del equipo rival, te enfocas más en lo que el rival hizo en el pasado y no de lo que el rival va a hacer en el futuro, y también se pierde un poco de lo que vos tenés que hacer y la ronda que estás adelante. Entonces como que en mi experiencia eso puede ser un poco contraproducente. Obviamente si el equipo rival vuelve a repetir todo lo mismo como si fuese un libreto, te favorece, pero a este nivel es también subestimar los equipos que tenés enfrente. Entonces creo que nuestro acercamiento al juego es como intentar jugar lo que tenemos adelante en la ronda y no pensar en otra cosa.
He's saying when you get to see the teams playing more to counter-strat the enemy team, in his own experience, you start focusing a lot more on what the other team is doing and kind of losing what your own team is doing. So in his experience, he thinks the best thing that you can do is, like he said before, playing that round ahead, playing that round that is coming up. And so that is the way that he's found success. Obviously not underestimating the rival that you have right in front of you. And that is everything that I have for this Verizon post-match interview. Onur, thank you so much. And we're gonna send it to the desk to close out the day.
Thank you so much, Dryad, for that. Always a blast to hear from the tacticians, the coaches of these teams, and how they try and get these players ready for match day. But I mean, Onur did a fantastic job. Hope homie gets a pay raise, because those boys look ready to go today, Mel. They were killing it. They look confident. And if this is the status, or not the status, but the kind of play that we're going to see from Leviatán, right? Is this the team that we're finally hoping to see take VCT Americas by storm?
That has to be a big confidence win for them for sure. It might be a little too soon to say. I'm not sure how they'll fare against LATAM and C9, but next week,
Fair,
I mean,
yeah.
It is looking better than it was before this huge win. It was nice and easy for them. At least it looked easy. And that's how you want your games to be. You want it to make it look like the other team got absolutely demolished, and that you look like you had every read and you just looked like your game plan was executed flawlessly.
And this is the win they need, not just for confidence, but for playoff hopes as well. Because like we've said a lot, they have a really tough strength of schedule ahead of time. But winning here means that even if they have a tough go of things in those next few matches, they still have a chance of making playoffs, which is huge for a squad like Leviatán, who may have had a rough start to the... That has just shocked me. That just scared me. Oh my
Sorry.
Either you know enough Spanish to figure out what that means?
It was like, but 9-3. It's just, I think that
when we are in the lead, but
I think one of my favorite parts about this league, and one of the favorite things that we got in the Americas region, is that we have the Americas region rather than it being South America, North America. It feels like we just learned so much more about these teams, and we're seeing, like, it's nice that we get to see Leviatán's like journey all the way, Mimi, up until if they can make their way over to Tokyo. It's going to make it that much more sweet if they're able to do so, given the adversity they had to overcome.
Yeah, it'll be really cool if they can make that run all the way. But I also think it's just sick to have. It almost feels like the finalization of this rivalry that defined the pre-partnership era in LATAM between these two. It was always KRU in favor. Leviatán pulled off just barely at the end to be the best squad. But now I think it is clear that here in 2023, in partnerships, in VCT Americas, Leviatán is that squad who is sitting at the top of the LATAM rivalry. And the question now comes of how far up in Americas can this team reach? And that's, I'm sure, where their eyes are for the last few matches of their group.
Yeah. And, well, speaking of where they are right now, let's check on the standings and see what's changed. So, Loud and Cloud9, as we established before, have clinched. But unfortunately, with that loss, that means that KRU are eliminated from playoffs, and thus their season basically has come to an end here. It's really unfortunate that is the case, but this was a do-or-die game for them here today.
It absolutely was, and it's going to be tough for them. They're going to have to go back, play these last few games still of the groups, and try and improve as much as they can, and then set their sights on the future after that one. But for the teams still in contention, this is going to be really important games coming up, particularly if you're Furia, Leviatán, NRG, those squads sitting right now in the middle of the pack. Your playoff chances still not guaranteed.
And just a reminder for everyone as well, the way you're seeing everything sorted, we went basically through the head-to-head. That is the first tiebreaker. So that's why you're going to see, like, for example, like a +4 in third, and then, Leviatán with +43 round differential, and basically it all makes sense. We have very smart people, all right, that are going through all of this and making sure that we get it 100% right leading up to the conclusion of the season. That being said, though, now that it puts us in this position as we get ready for the games tomorrow, next week, Mel, the playoff picture is going to be very interesting over these next few weeks.
It doesn't get more important and stressful for the players over these next couple of weeks. I can't imagine being in their position. I mean, I can, but not like in a week-by-week structure when you've been grinding for weeks and it's just relentless, and this is all culminating to finally these last games where if you haven't been like continuously putting in that good effort and that good gameplay for the first couple of weeks, you're really stressing these matches and trying to get your best out and hopefully qualify for playoffs.
And you can see that tomorrow we have NRG versus Furia, and you're so right. This is it, right? I mean, even for NRG, I mean, you saw where Furia was on the standings as well. Every single game up until this point, Mimi, is going to have those stakes. And I'm not talking about the food type. I'm talking about the type where you put it all out there, you try and get the dubs, you try and make it right. Huh?
Like what you put in your garden? Like when you're putting up tomato plants?
Yeah, actually, you're
Or is it
right.
a different kind?
Well, I mean, it's kind of... Wait, do you plant, like, meat, or are you talking about wood? Okay.
No, with like steaks. Like when you plant tomatoes, you don't want them to fall over.
I'm
So
just
put a
trolling
steak
you.
in your
I'm
garden.
just trolling you. Well, you know,
guy on.
guys, thank you so much for today. You're all amazing human beings. Thank you for the Tactibears and the
friends.
Doggos for being out here as well. But that's going to do it for today. We had 2 pretty awesome matches. We learned a lot, but now we have tomorrow's match still to come. It's going to be NRG facing off against Furia. You don't want to miss it. Here are your Prime Gaming post-day highlights. We'll see you tomorrow. 100 Thieves are looking to pull off the heist of VCT Americas, but Loud is intending on bringing the noise. It's Loud versus 100 Thieves, a must-win matchup for the Thieves as they take on the Brazilians.
And as we take care of the alarm clock, Stellar gets 2 kills as he focuses towards the lane. A hat-trick into the round. But Aspas is looking to deny that right away with the wall bang onto Asuna as well. But all they need to do now for Loud is just crossfire with all of these Spectres. Add that to your bingo card as Loud comes in victor on the first map, a 13-5. Somehow Loud still opens it up. Pressure up towards the A ramp. A 2v2 ensues up there. But it's Loud with a 4K.
Okay.
There's the first contact. There's the second one. Goes for the third.
Three-peak.
Almost the wall bang.
He's reloading and he stays.
And the fourth. And gets the ace with a second no-scope. Traded back by Asuna. Now gets another kill through the cages. The punch shot from Asuna. 4K into the round. Wow. And we push this into the extra innings.
Let's fucking go.
But 2 players fall down. Oh no, what? Had the wall up in his hands, but still is there for the save. The flawless round for Loud to win the series here. But what a fight. What a fight for 100 Thieves.
It's a collision course with 2 of the finest Latin American teams the region has to offer. Leviatán goes up against KRU Esports to determine who is the best of their respective region. Let's do this.
And it's another excellent round for Leviatán. That Bulldog just put in work. Dude, this feels like Taco's gonna have him one of those games.
Yeah.
Now Mazzino showing up at just the right time. It's perfect.
Wow.
It's gorgeous. 13-4 in favor of Leviatán. What a stomp.
Working up with the wall, but the defensive wall's up at the same time. You got a Judge on the other side, a nade coming in here too.
Enemy remaining.
Oh no.
They didn't realize Mazzino had repositioned.
Oh, what a beast. King got in sight with him on elbow.
And he got the kill on it too. He gets the second. 6 bullets left as he looks for the third, and it delivers. And it's a shorty. It's a shorty. It's a shorty to win the round, to win the map, to win the series. A blistering pace out from Leviatán as they take down KRU.